Hello guys, welcome back. Well, welcome to the first video of the Versus podcast with me, Callum, and Charlie.
Hello.
So, today we're going to be basically debating Halo versus CoD. Now, if you don't know what either of these games are, you must be living under a rock. A very big rock. Charlie, have you got any words to say on this at the moment?
Like Callum said, if you don't know what Halo or Call of Duty is, then where have you been for the past God knows how many years? Like 13, 14 years. If not longer. But anyway, today we're basically going to be discussing Callum's going to be saying why Halo's better, because he plays Halo more, and I play Call of Duty more. It's one of them, and we've always had this debate where Call of Duty's better or Halo's better, and we thought, you know what, let's debate it over the internet, and here we are now, doing this. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, I'd like to apologise in advance that if I make any points that are in Halo 5, I'd just like to apologise in advance because I haven't played Halo 5. I've played probably every other first-person shooter Halo. I've not played the top-down ones, but I've played all the first-person shooter ones apart from 2 and 5. So I'm just going to apologise there if I get any points from either of them two games. Either wrong or they're in the games, but I didn't know. So don't hate me for that.
And I've played all of the Call of Duties from COD 3 up to Black Ops 3. And I'm pretty sure I'm just going to stop at Black Ops 3 unless they bring out another World at War or something like that. Because World at War was actually good and fun to play until, they made where if you want to press A just to get over a wall, you jump 10,000 feet into the air. And I don't like that because it ruins the whole, feel of the Call of Duty franchise. So, yeah.
Now that leads perfectly into my first point. Call of Duty copied Halo. There you go, I'm going to say it now. I can just see
How?
all of the comments hating on me now.
How?
Call of Duty copied Halo.
How did they?
Just look at Infinite Warfare. Tell me, the trailer for Infinite Warfare does not look like a Halo game. It just does. It's set in space, futuristic weapons, futuristic armor. It's not what Call of Duty was. Now, I've played most of Call of Duty. Well, no, I would say most. I've played quite a few. I've played COD 3, COD 4, Black Ops 1, 2, Modern Warfare 3,
let's be honest,
and
I haven't played
Ghosts.
Black Ops 1 that much.
I've played it though. I've played it enough to know what the game feels like. And it's got that same feel of boots on the ground, sort of war simulation. But then I've played Black Ops 3 once, and I've played Advanced Warfare a couple of times, and I found that they were just too. They're not boots on the ground. They're not futuristic. They are futuristic. They're too futuristic. They're more boots on the ground. They're less boots on the ground, which they should have been. It's just dodgy. It shouldn't be like that.
What I don't get is, you don't like Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare and that because it's all jumpy and futuristic. But why do you then go and play Halo?
Because Halo is the one who. I'm not going to say the one who created the futuristic first-person shooters, because there probably was one before it. But they really did influence the futuristic first-person shooters. I like the idea of it because of how old the games are. They have the style of very little aim down sight situations. Like, you can aim down sights, but only with certain guns with scopes on. Which reminds me of Counter-Strike, which is what I like about that. It's much more simplistic and old-styled. Now, Halo 5, I do know, does have an aim down sights feature, but it's still not the same as COD. And I think it's slightly better, personally. I feel it just seems better to play about with that way, from what I've seen. However, Call of Duty, you're constantly able to aim down sights. There isn't really like a certain recoil pattern for things. It's just, if you don't aim down sights, everything just sprays everywhere. And if you do aim down sights, practically everything's almost
let me just
perfectly
make a
accurate.
point.
It just doesn't seem realistic.
The whole Halo franchise, I find, is just all the same every year or every 2 years or every 3 years. Whenever they bring them out, I find they're just all the same. It's you spawn in, you're in space, you've got a gun, and then you do the campaign, which I feel every mission is the same, and then you go and do the multiplayer. But then when it goes to Call of Duty, every mission is different. Like on Call of Duty, you've got different main characters, and it's not stuck to one character. Every campaign mission, it skips to a character. So say you've got Captain Price and I know they weren't in the same game, but let's say Captain Price and Reznov. If they were in the same game, it would start off with Captain Price, then it'd go to Reznov, then Captain Price, then probably a new character. It switches it up, and I find the Call of Duty franchise is just, I feel it's a lot better in my opinion, but with Halo, I find it's just the exact same characters every single mission.
However, you say that, but if you were to check Halo 5, you now have 2 main characters. Like, 2 main playable characters.
Yeah, but it took them long enough.
And I didn't like that. I didn't like having 2 main playable characters. I've not played it, but I've seen it. And I personally just didn't like the idea of it. And I think it was a big mistake. Like, it should have just stayed as it was before, with following the story of Master Chief, and Master Chief only, along with, like, his little hologram woman, Cortana. Because I don't exactly know what she is, she's just a hologram woman to me. Yeah, I'm really good at supporting this, considering I don't know what Cortana actually is. But I like the idea of having one main character and following that character's story. But with the Call of Duty franchise, it's following multiple characters' stories through one game, and very rarely follows them into a second game, and a third game's even rarer. Which is why it's pretty cool how they've managed to carry on the Master Chief sort of story for so long. And the only games that really didn't have Master Chief that were first-person shooter Halos was probably ODST and Reach.
But Captain Price was in a lot. He was in what? CoD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. That's 3. Cool. Correct me if there's any more or if I got one wrong. Then Reznov was in. You actually seen him in Black Ops 1, I believe. Black Ops 2, I think. No, can't remember. But he was in about 2 or 3. Then you've got Makarov. He was in, I think, 2. It is so there is characters. They do carry on characters. It's not just a new one every year.
Now, so that is true, which it is, that they do follow on characters, but they don't tend to follow them on for 5 separate games, which is pretty cool, because then you've got, like, it's like growing up with that character. Like,
but how many Call of Duties has there been? There's been about 13, 14. How many Halos has there been proper? There's been about 5.
7.
Like, not like the Spartan Assault. Like,
No, but there's been 7 first-person shooter ones because of ODST and Reach. Now, Reach follows your own character, which I think's kind of cool, because I don't actually remember any Call of Duty having it so your character is your own. You give it a name, you give it the way that it looks, and then you have that to follow through the campaign with. And Reach is one of the only games that I've seen that happen with that's a first-person shooter. And I really like the idea of that happening. But the problem is they didn't do that again. Now, ODST, you followed another guy, I can't remember his name. I've played the game, but I can't remember the guy's name. But you follow an ODST, and you get to see how ODST armor rules kind of works, and how it's different from normal Spartan armor. And it's just very different. And the idea of fighting against not humans but alien races. Because we've all seen games where you fight against just humans and that's it. I mean, just look at Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, Battlefield, all of them. You're literally just fighting humans. But Halo's different. It's the one that stands out because you're not just fighting humans. I mean, you probably do fight the occasional
In
human
Black
here
Ops
and
3,
there, but it's mainly the
right.
alien races. And there's so many alien races that you can kind of learn which ones are which, and they've all got their individual looks, all individual sort of abilities. Like, for example, you've got the Jackals with the shields, and then you've got the Elites who are really kind of difficult to kill, and they're pretty powerful. They carry quite high-level, powerful guns. And you've got your brutes, and you've got your little grunts, which are absolutely useless, but they're just satisfying when you hear them scream when you shoot a bullet. Which you don't get that kind of mixture in something like Call of Duty, where you just get one person, and then that person's basically replicated multiple times.
But you could actually customize your character in Black Ops 3. In the campaign, every now and then it would go to your base, and you could customize them.
Okay. So that's kind of just disproved that point.
Right. Let me go to the multiplayer of Halo, because there's a lot I want to say about the multiplayer.
Alright, so moving to multiplayer.
First of all, teabagging, that pisses me off.
I knew you'd bring that up.
That's a little point I wanted to, clarify. Right.
The ultimate Halo celebration, to teabag your enemy's dead corpses.
One thing I did want to mention was the custom loadouts, though. Because on Black Ops 1, 2, 3, and all the Modern Warfares and World at War, you could just... It was as if you made your gun your own. Everybody had their own different customizations, and it was a nice feature to the game. Although it wasn't the biggest feature, it was not a small feature, but it wasn't the biggest feature that made the game what it kind of is as well. So I feel, and on Halo, I believe you couldn't actually go all out with customizing your classes, giving it attachments, sights, which I know is that's in a customization, but like you couldn't give it sights and that. So that because I thought you could, but I found out you actually couldn't, and that didn't. I don't know. That was one of the main reasons why I didn't really play Halo.
Now, I was going to make that point. So you've done that basically for me. But I do like the idea of having not being able to create your own custom loadout to a certain extent. Like Halo 4, you could create what looked like a custom loadout, like you could give it armor abilities and things. But people didn't like that. People thought it took away from the sort of fairness of the game. Which is why most people like Counter-Strike. Because of the fairness of it. You've got weapons and they're barely different. Like, it's the only differences between each weapon, really, like from one weapon to another, is the skins, which really makes the game more fair. Like, if you had one guy with an M4A1S and another guy with an M4A1S, they've got equal chance of killing each other. And that's the same with Halo. You would start off with your default weapon, an assault rifle and a magnum. And
But
the enemy
then
teams
Call
would
of
also have that
Duty,
assault rifle and that magnum.
Can I just interrupt?
Okay.
If you say you bring up the Counter-Strike thing, the M4A1S versus the M4A1S situation,
Yeah.
that means you play the game more to rank up to earn attachments. So there is a proper, real reason to play the game that much. Because if, let's say, Counter-Strike, for example, I play Counter-Strike, but if you could have attachments and like give it camos and everything, I would play the game 10 times more, because it actually makes you want to play the game a lot, to like grind and level up. And there's a max level, but 10th prestige that I've never got to, or the max prestige, whatever. And I just thought it was a good idea of the whole ranking system with the awards. There was basically awards to it, which were your attachments and camos and customizations. But therefore in Halo, you didn't have all of that. It was literally you play a multiplayer game or two, you level up, and then you just wait until you get to the next level. But say if you wanted to get a golden camo for the AK-47, you would use the AK-47 a lot to get that, so it'd feel like you're actually trying to achieve something, I find.
Okay, so the fact that you can just level up to get new unlocks is pretty cool. I mean, it does keep a little bit of fairness in the game where it is, but it's still not quite as fair as things like Counter-Strike and Halo, where all of the guns are basically the same, and the only slight differences may be camo, like, mainly in Counter-Strike, but Halo does have camos. In Halo 4 it did anyway. I'm not sure about the newer ones. That's my phone.
You
But,
just stopped my point, Callum. I was going to say, because on about leveling up and getting attachments, I was about to make the point of camos. You don't get camos in Halo, do you?
Well, only really Halo 4 you would get camos from. And there was only like a few for each weapon. I think it was like 3 for certain weapons.
I mean, the thing I also don't like is how there's already like. Do you know how you get? I think Halo would be quite cool because in Halo they make it so vehicles are already spawned in. I think it'd be cool if it had the same system as you get a kill, you earn points with them points, you buy your vehicle in. Like such as in Call of Duty, you earn points, you get your kill streak, and then you go and like get some kills or you help the team out. But Halo doesn't really have kill streaks or anything, does it?
No, not necessarily. I mean, it's got ordnance drops in Halo 4. I don't know if they were in any of the others.
Nobody cares about them.
But nobody actually liked the ordnance drops. I did. I personally liked a lot of these features that they kind of borrowed and twisted from Call of Duty. Because, I don't know, it was just kind of cool how they managed to twist it and fit it in well. However, people didn't like them. They were saying it was too much like Call of Duty in Halo 4. Which is the reason Halo 5's gone kind of backwards to previous of Halo 4. But yeah, we had ordnance drops, and you'd get a certain amount of points, and you could call in your ordnance drop and get, I don't know, a shotgun from it. And then you'd be going around the map getting constant kills with the shotgun until it ran out of ammo. Which would annoy every single person in the lobby, and it was brilliant.
I think that shotgun should just be unlocked from... I think that shotgun should just, or something like that shotgun should just be unlocked from, like, winning games and that, instead of you have to earn it in game, meaning you can only have it for a certain amount of time.
Well, it wasn't necessarily you could only have it for a certain amount of time. You could have it until the ammo ran out. And the only way that you could get these shotguns and stuff was either from the ordnance drop, which was only on certain game modes, so it's not like Call of Duty where it's practically on every game mode. Bear in mind, there is a few, I know that. But most of the game modes had kill streaks. But for Halo, it was like a couple of game modes had an ordnance drop. So you had a kind of way around it if you wanted. And that was the only way you could get these shotguns, unless you found them around the map. And after that, they were just kind of overpowered, but pretty cool, if you can get hold of one, but they're rare. Just like the snipers. Like, it's high-powered weapons, which make Halo different. Like, if you go into Call of Duty and you want a high-powered weapon, you'd instantly go to your custom loadout. You'd go look for, I don't know, something like your, I don't know, just look for a sniper or a shotgun or an LMG or something. But Halo, you wouldn't be able to do that. You had your basic weapons like a DMR, which was kind of like a long-range sort of assault rifle, but slightly less powerful than a sniper. You'd have your kind of semi-auto burst fire AR, which would be your battle rifle.
That's another quick thing.
And then you'd have your assault rifle.
The fact about the range in Halo. Your range on your guns was stupid. It was, in my eyes, terrible. You could only shoot someone about 2-3 meters in front of you. Any further and you wouldn't reach them.
Which is the reason that you look for snipers or DMRs or battle rifles around the map. Now, battle rifles not so much in Halo 5, because I'm pretty sure they don't have a proper scope on them anymore. They've got just like a little red dot style sight from Call of Duty.
Why can't you just have a sniper in your custom class, which Halo doesn't have?
Because Halo never used to have custom classes. You would have the preset classes, which would have certain armor abilities, but other than that, they would be barely different. Just the armor abilities. And then everything else you'd find around the map. And Halo 4, when they were creating Halo 4, they wanted to kind of keep that. So they made it so you could create a custom class with, I don't know, grenades, well, different style grenades, a different style pistols, and then a different style assault rifle of some sort. But any high-powered weapons like an energy sword or a sniper rifle, you'd have to find around the map.
Because I see an energy sword, fair enough, you have to get that around the map. But it's things like snipers. Why can't you just have a sniper in a why can't you just have a sniper in a loadout?
Because the snipers are practically a 1 to 2 shot kill. 1 shot to the head, 2 shot to the body. Which means anyone can't really get close to you because you can practically just pick them off from a distance. And if they try and get close to you to kill you, they're going to find it very difficult. The only ways that they're going to be able to do that is with a long range weapon. So either they can go out and find another sniper, or they can have a loadout with your DMR or your battle rifle in, which means that they could aim in and they could get them long range shots. But even then, they still weren't as powerful as the sniper, because the sniper practically, if you got that, you basically owned the game. And because of the small map size, it meant that you could get pretty good shots from certain angles. And the shotgun, you could basically run around the map at pretty fast speeds if you had, I don't know, some mobility perk on so you could run faster. You'd be able to run around the map much faster with this shotgun. You encounter someone, instantly draw your gun, shoot them and go. And you're on to the next person. But if everybody had that feature, it would be too overpowered. And everyone would just stop playing the game in general. Which is why it makes it a bit more of a challenge to get these power weapons to be able to actually run around like the way that I just explained. But unlike Call of Duty, where it is literally everyone can have this feature, so there's practically no fairness there.
Give me some points on why Halo is better than Call of Duty. You ask me some questions.
Very simple but small maps.
You tell me why Call of Duty is not as good as Halo.
Well, from the ones that I've experienced, they either... See, Call of Duty doesn't work with big maps at all. I mean, just look at World at War. I found it very difficult on the multiplayer. Not because of the players, but because of the map size.
But that was on PC.
It was too close to be in a Battlefield game. Way too close, because of the map size. It just doesn't work with the weapons that they gave you in that game. I don't know what it was like in any of the others. I don't think the Modern Warfare series had the same issue. But from what I've played in Modern Warfare 3, I don't feel it had the same issue as too big a map size. I think the map size was fine. And it needs a medium map size. However, Black Ops 2 tended to have smaller maps, like Hijacked, Nuketown, but they were too small. They weren't the right sized maps. And you'd be basically spawn killed with a sniper constantly. And it was very...
I think Call of Duty would be... Are you trying to say that Call of Duty maps or World at War maps were too big to be a Call of Duty game, and Black Ops, like 2 maps, for example, were too small?
Pretty much. They were never really the right size. Like,
but
certain maps were, and they were brilliant to play on, because of the size of them was the perfect size for the game and the guns that were in the game. But other maps in other games weren't. Now, Battlefield, big maps work fine, because you've got the weapons for the same map. Well, you've got the weapons for the maps, but Call of Duty didn't. So Call of Duty is more like a run around with an SMG style game. Like, it's much easier to do that than try and pick them off from a distance with a sniper. If you're going to use a sniper as quick scoping.
But did you not find that World at War was good? That it was based on a true story?
Of course, it was good. I mean, the maps were brilliant in the way that they were, but they just didn't fit the way that Call of Duty works.
And also, did Halo have interactions with the maps?
What do you mean by, like, interactions?
Well, with COD Ghosts. In my opinion, I'm probably going to get hated a lot for this, but people always thought that COD Ghosts was the worst Call of Duty. And in my opinion, I say no to that because I think COD Ghosts was actually quite cool. One of the reasons being the interactions as well. You could have, you could interact with the maps, meaning you could play, say on that one map, the strip club map, I can't even remember what it was called, but like you could blow down the gas tower, or you could say, it's hard to think off the top of my head. You could like blow certain walls open and that, like you stuck a C4 to the wall, and you blew it up, but in an animation. But it was on multiplayer. Now, if you were to get an interaction on Halo or something like that, I would find it's only in the campaign. But I like how they added it to the multiplayer, especially like the animations that they did with it, like when they brought in the sliding feature and the like poking your head around the corner feature. I didn't actually really ever use that, but I find it efficient on games like Rainbow Six Siege. So I guess if you were to play games like that and then get used to that feature, because obviously Call of Duty never had that feature before, so now that it brought that feature to the game, and it was kind of a new thing to everyone, just like the sliding. So I'm pretty sure if you get used to it, you can actually use it to your advantage. But in Halo, you had run, crouch, shoot.
Well, you wouldn't really want to go prone in Halo, would ya? Because thing is, you'd go prone and you wouldn't be able to aim at the other people because of how high they can jump. They can jump quite high, so you'd have to suddenly come out of prone to shoot them in the air. You wouldn't want to be able to peek around corners because it's just not really needed. Like, the corners ain't that sharp like they are in Call of Duty Ghosts, for example. Like, the corners were very more modern and sharp on the corners, but Halo, it was very curved, so you wouldn't really be able to aim around them corners as easy without exposing yourself to bullet fire anyway, so you were better off just running straight in and getting on with the battle.
But if you were to think about it, I can't even remember what I was going to say anymore. You carry on yours, and it might...
I've always said that Halo would be so much better if it had a sort of mantling feature. So, like, with Call of Duty, you can climb over objects. I think that would be so much cooler to have in Halo as well, and I think Halo 5 did have something like that. And also a slide feature would be pretty cool. Because really, the only equivalent we had to a slide was thrusters or a little roll. Halo, I think it was Halo Reach or 3. One or the other, you could do kind of roll. You could roll to the side and then the other side. But other than that, there wasn't much to kind of go around people and avoid bullets. And then Halo 4 and 5, you could do a kind of thrust out the way. But other than that, I think it would be pretty cool to have a kind of slide feature in there as well. But I think that they would be the only real features that I'd want to be having taken from Call of Duty and put into a Halo game. Because I find it'd just be much better to have them features there, combat-wise. And then obviously we've got sprint already. I mean, it wasn't as good in Halo 4. Halo 5, they fixed the issue of sprinting being overpowered because you could sprint away from battle. And they made it so if you try and sprint while your shields are low, your shields just won't regenerate. Which I find is a very cool feature in itself anyway. But they're really the only features that I'd like from Call of Duty and Halo. Like, it just wouldn't seem right for custom classes anymore. We witnessed it in Halo 4. A lot of people didn't like it. I mean, I kind of liked it. It was pretty good. But it just didn't work with the way Halo is themed.
Another point to add. Game modes. Call of Duty, I think, in Modern Warfare 2, had about 18 to 20 something different game modes. And game modes and strategies I want to add. Because strategies, search and destroy, that kind of, I wouldn't say strategies such as Counter-Strike, but strategies such as like different spots to camp at while, say, you've planted the bomb. But in Halo, I find everyone just runs around, jumps around, gets killed, respawns, and then it just keeps on happening again. But then with Call of Duty, I find something new happens every game, which I kind of like.
Which is a very fair point. However, Halo had quite a lot of unique game modes. Like, it weren't your traditional game modes as capture the flag, domination,
Infected.
infected and things like that. They had them slightly different. Like, their equivalent to infected was one team had shotguns and they were defending off the flood, which were basically the infected, and that was very slightly different. And you would have the abilities to jump high. The flood would be able to run faster than you. They'd be able to jump a bit higher than you, and that was just cool as it was. And just being able to kind of camp down a certain area with your shotgun and your pistol. But your flood could take about 2 shotgun bullets, so it was a bit more difficult. But then in Call of Duty, in the infected game mode, you could use practically whatever weapon you wanted. And then the affected were just running around with a knife, which seemed a little bit boring to only have a knife. Like Halo, it was basically the same as owning an energy sword in Halo, but it was retextured. It just made you feel like you were infected, and the HUD was all different. But from what I can remember from COD Ghosts Infected, was you would run around with a knife. Your HUD wouldn't change as far as I was aware. It would basically just be like trying to run around with a knife in multiplayer mode. Capture the flag, that was different in its own little way from normal Call of Duty game modes of capture the flag, because once you've got the flag, you literally hold the flag in your hand, which meant that you could only use one-handed weapons, like the pistol, which gave you a disadvantage with the flag, but the enemy team had slightly more advantage. But with Call of Duty, you literally stick the flag on your back, and you just run with your, I don't know, your AK. Again, I'm going to use the AK just because. But you're just running with your AK, and you've basically got no worries about trying to get back. It's as simple as run through, gun people down, and drop your flag where it belongs. And domination, we didn't really have a proper equivalent to it. Halo 4 had a very similar kind of thing of a sort of situation of you would take over certain areas on certain maps, but it was only for like the deathmatch game mode, and you would have to find a certain map with the sort of dominion, as they called it, built in with that map. So you'd go over, you'd take over this area, and then it'd put the shields up on that area. So not only would the enemy team have to take it over, but they'd have to smash the shields on it first, take out any of the remaining team in that building or area, and they'd have to take all them out so that they could then go over to the command machine, take over the area as it was, so that they could own it as their own. But as long as you had these areas on capture, you would get more ordnance drops, more vehicles arrive, because you get like vehicle spawns. Like you could spawn a banshee on top of the roof of some of them. You could spawn little ghosts around the outside of some of them. You could even spawn a massive tank on one of them. Like, it was just so much better to have it like that than just casually running around, taking a flag and going again.
But do you not find Halo would have been a bit better if it had... I don't know, let's think of a game mode like Headquarters. That was basically, you had a certain spot you had to hold down for a certain amount of time, then that spot would move. And whatever team protected it for the longest, or I can't remember how it worked that much, but it was basically along the lines of there's a spot and both teams have to try and get to that spot, and I think whoever earns like the most points on that spot, or whoever captures it first, that's what it was, gets more points for them to win the game. Do you not think Halo would have done good with that? Because I think that would have been quite a good mode for Halo.
Well, Halo 4 did have that. But once again, it was one of these team deathmatch exclusive ones. So you would have to go into a team deathmatch lobby, and you would have to find a map with King of the Hill. which is where you go to a certain area, and these areas would change randomly throughout the game to different points. And you'd go to these areas, you'd hold it down from the enemy team, and the enemy team have to try and take it over, and whoever holds it for the longest gets the more points, and the person who holds it first gets to keep it for until someone else takes it over. But I found that was actually kind of very similar to like Hardpoint or Headquarters or whatever you want to call it.
Right, another thing I wanted to add. Now it's kind of just going off the subject of the whole game modes. That was a good, topic. Graphics. Do you find that Halo could have improved their graphics? Because I find Halo didn't have much textures.
Yeah.
Many textures. I found everything was very smooth and curved, but Call of Duty was more sharp, more textures, more detail, just little details. Like if you were to go out, if you go in spectator mode, you'd fly out the map and there'd be so many other there'd be like a bunch of buildings on fire and that in some maps, and it was like just the details that you didn't really need to add that much, but it's the fact they thought about these things. Do you not think Halo could have improved a bit better on it?
Well, skyblock wise, which is what you were talking about with buildings on fire in the background, Halo didn't have that for reasons like it's in space, but instead they had really nice sort of skies. Like one of the maps, can't quite remember what it's called off the top of my head, but one of the maps had a really nice orange sunset going on. You had stars in the background. It was amazing looking for the skyblock only. And then you'd have certain things like things that would boost you into the air. They looked really nice, like sort of like lasers that came from the ground upwards, and they just boost you into the air onto other platforms, so you could get a quick advantage over other people if you had to creep up behind them or something. They always look pretty nice. But I see what you mean by the textures were very smooth, because they were, and I'm not even going to try and deny that fact. The textures were very smooth, and there wasn't much texturing in like the backgrounds or everything. Like the floor, it was basically one colour. Like if you were to have a grey floor, it'd be one colour grey and then maybe a few other shades, maybe about 50 shades of grey. Oh wait, sorry, can't put that reference in there. Sorry, I had to trip that reference in there. But yeah, you'd have a few other shades of grey in there. But other than that, there wouldn't be much detailing to it. But the reason that was because it's set in space. And when you think of like the future and space, you don't really think about
I see where you're coming from there.
grasslands and everything, and really textured trees and everything. You tend to think more about metal, and metal's basically one solid colour. It's like one solid, either shiny sort of silvery colour, or it's like a matte sort of grey colour. That's what they were aiming for with Halo 4's, and probably other Halos before that, environment. But Halo 3 was set more on Earth, and I found the graphics were actually more textured on that one. Like there was one mission, I think it was one of the first campaign missions from Halo 3. You were in a forest, and the forest was really well textured, and I found it looked better than most Halo 4 most Halo 4 campaign missions and stuff. But it looked amazing, and it was a nice environment to sort of walk through and see all the water, and the water looked amazing. Everything looked really good about it. But I think being as Halo 4 was more space oriented compared to like Halo 3, which was more Earth oriented, it just made more sense to have them sort of shiny, just plain, more plain surfaces. Textures of guns, they were pretty plain, but once again, it comes back to the futuristic look of them. Like, you wouldn't picture them to be big and with big bits of wood on the back and things. It just doesn't seem right. Like, you'd see them all as one texture, really. Or just, well, a few textures here and there. Your armour, that was alright, I guess. You had certain armours which were shiny, certain armours which were more matte. But the cutscenes were really what did make the graphics look good about Halo. Basically all the Halos have always had better looking cutscenes than they do actual game, which always slightly annoys me, because it's like, you'd be going through the Halo 4 campaign, you'd jump into a cutscene, you'd be thinking, oh, this actually looks really good. And then you get chucked into the game and you'd be a little bit more disappointed because it wasn't quite as good as you thought. Like graphics-wise, gameplay-wise, it's still brilliant. Loved it. But, yeah.
So they're pretty much all of my points cleared. So I think we can agree on Call of Duty better. No, I'm joking. Yeah, they're all my points. I haven't got really any more to add. I think I will give it Halo. Halo was quite a good game, but I still think, in my opinion, that Call of Duty was just better, and I'll probably always think that.
Now, a few quick more points from me.
Oh.
Let's talk about shields and armor. So, Halo 4, you had shields, and your shield was a hard light shield, which you could only have up for a certain amount of time. You couldn't have any weapons out at the same time. You couldn't hit anyone with this. This was mainly just to be able to regen
CoD menus better.
And your armor allowed you to basically take a bit more damage than you would, like, if you were just a normal soldier. And so that gave you a bit more reaction time to be able to turn around, notice where someone's shooting you from, turn around to them and shoot them before they can kill you. And if you have to and your shields are really low, you can get behind, I don't know, you can use the thrusters to get behind a wall or something. But Call of Duty, that had a completely different thing when it came to shields. So, Charlie, would you like to explain?
I'm sorry, what? Did Call of Duty have shields?
Well, they had a shield.
I thought you were about more...
No, not armor shields. The
I
hard
thought
light
you meant
shields
the
were
new
like
ones.
riot shields, and then you had your armor.
Riot shields. That's a very, very, very funny topic. You make me laugh. Right. I found that you had to be quite skilled to use a riot shield, or if you weren't the best with using riot shields, I would say the best type of way to use them, where if you're in like a thin like alley bit on multiplayer or something, and they could only see like your riot shield, they weren't like, say the walls were quite compact, I think that's the word, or compressed. Because otherwise, if you were just out in the open one, I find people could just throw a grenade or flash you. But then, like I said, if you were skilled, they were quite OP in a way, because it was one hit. It was one melee hit to them and you'd be dead, which I found was quite annoying. But in some cases, it wasn't a one hit. Some cases, it was two hits. For me, anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if that ever happened to any of you people watching, or even you, Callum. Mr. Halo is the greatest over here, but no. Riot shields, I probably wouldn't recommend using in Call of Duty. They weren't the best. Like I said, unless you were quite skilled with them, then yeah, they were pretty bad.
Well, there's one thing I genuinely hate about Call of Duty, and that will be riot shields and C4s. When you combine the two of them together...
May or may not have forgot about that.
No, three things. You combine the riot shields with the C4s with the crouch button, because you would literally walk around the map, crouched with your little riot shield, and, you know, you thought you were amazing. You thought, oh yeah, I'm unstoppable at this point, and you basically were. So you'd run round, crouched with your riot shield and your C4 ready, and you'd see an enemy. So what would you do? You wouldn't put your riot shield away and pull your gun out. No, you just quickly pull out your C4, lob it at him, press the button twice, and boom. It was that quick, and you had nothing to defend yourself against because you shot the riot shield, deflected every single bullet. You could wallbang people through walls, but these riot shields, no, these were invincible. Couldn't do anything to get past these.
Can I just add something real quick? Right, now it's not to do with Call of Duty or Halo, but if any of you guys have the same problem in Rainbow Six Siege, when you've got a riot shield, and as soon as you hear that beeping noise, you're screwed. As soon as that beeping noise comes near you, you're dead. Because it's literally throw and boom. Shields are now useless in Rainbow Six Siege. Callum, carry on. I heard C4 and shield in the same sentence, and the first thing that went to my mind...
It just triggered you.
Yes, you've annoyed me, Callum. I'm telling my mummy.
Well, you've triggered me along with Call of Duty because of the C4s and shields.
Oh yeah, and Call of Duty's like a lot better than Halo, ain't
Which
it?
is why the hard-light shield in Halo 4 was so much better, because you couldn't just throw a grenade and hope that it hit the enemy team or something whilst you were still got your shield up, because you'd have to drop this shield, which would take you a bit of time to do anyway, and then you'd have to quickly pull out a grenade and throw it at them. You'd have to have a bit of accuracy, because you couldn't obviously charge it up and then throw it at them. You'd literally just throw the grenade as soon as you click the button. Which meant that you had to wait for it to actually blow up off the ground. Like, you had to wait the amount of time for it to blow up. You couldn't just sit and hold it in your hand for your full, I don't know however many seconds it was, and then leave it on the last second and then throw it, so it blows up pretty much instantly on the enemy player. Which was also a brilliant sort of feature, because then you could just avoid it, and it was much better. And also, it keeps to the same style of classic first-person shooters. Now, Counter-Strike's been in the first-person shooter game for years now. I mean, just go look at the original Counter-Strike on Steam or something. It'll just tell you kind of how old Counter-Strike is. And it always has the kind of same feel as a Halo game, where the fact is that you can't aim down sights unless the gun has a physical scope on the gun. That's a gun twice in the same sentence there, which wasn't meant to happen. But anyway, yeah, you'd have a physical scope on the gun, and then you could aim down sights with it.
Very good, isn't
And that was the same with Halo, but Halo 5's kind of ruined that just a little bit. It ruined that kind of classic first-person shooter. But Halo 3 was the best one for kind of showing this, because it had a very Counter-Strike feel to it. The fact that you could only aim down sights with a gun that had a physical scope, you couldn't sprint, you could only really crouch. You had your one little crosshair in the middle of the screen, that was it. That would change per gun. I mean, I'm not sure how much it changes in Counter-Strike. It's very little changes, like the crosshairs become a little bit wider. But it just felt that it just feels like a classic first-person shooter. So anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this little debate situation here, leave a like down below, subscribe if you are new to the channel. More podcasts will be coming soon.
I enjoyed this first one.
Yeah, it's very fun.
I think we can all agree on Call of Duty's better though. So
No,
yeah.
Halo is better.
No, I think
Halo's
Call
just
of
the
Duty's-
more original style. It just feels better.
I think Call of Duty's a bit better, Callum.
No.
Oh, I don't think it.
1v1 me, Club Penguin, right here, right now.
Mate, I will, you little scrub.
I'll snow scope you, mate.
Come at me.